Welcome! This 90-minute discovery meeting facilitation video is intended to help you as a Bloom Growth Coach visualize and internalize the flow of a complete 90-minute discovery meeting with a prospective client's leadership team. This video is designed to help you as a Bloom Growth Coach visualize and internalize the flow of a complete discovery session with a prospective client's leadership team. We'll watch Coach Jack Smith walk the team through the real-time delivery of the session, covering the initial setup and context, the 8 Bloom essentials, the practical tools that get implemented, the investment and service overview, and finally, the ask and wrap-up. The session is built to model how to show up as a facilitator, teacher, and coach, asking meaningful questions, listening actively, and inviting the team to explore what's working and what's not. Remember, the goal here isn't to pitch. It's to serve. To guide the team toward clarity so they can decide, is Bloom Growth the right system for them? If so, are you the right coach to guide them through it? Now, this is the form that you'll use as a coach when you're doing the 90-minute discovery meeting. I also have it in my Remarkable, and when you do the 90-minute discovery meeting, you'll simply copy and create a fresh copy. I put it in my Remarkable client prospect folder, and I fill it all out right there. I do not share this with the prospect. This is just for me to take notes. It fills out the information quite specifically. There's a place where I'll capture who they are as leaders and the pain that they share with me. And then these checkboxes here are for later when I'm addressing the pain, and I'm telling them which 8 essentials are going to take their pain away. I also use this to capture O and O's for the client's software account in preparation for their Bloom Day 1, assuming they choose me as a coach. Also, take a moment to review your notes from the warm call and bring up the company website to help get yourself fully present to the company and team you are about to serve. Okay, let's dive in. This meeting almost always runs at least an hour. The less time it takes, the better. There are a few components you'll see where Coach Jack specifically engages members of the leadership team to draw out pain points from each person. So if there are 7 people in the room, naturally, it'll stretch the full 90 minutes. If it's only 2 or 3, we may land closer to 60 or 70 minutes. That dynamic makes perfect sense, right? It's just how these conversations go. After you've done this many times, you'll find yourself working with leadership teams across just about every industry. You'll bring your own business and life experience into these conversations. In this case, we are working with a company called Acme Property Management. All right, let's see what they've got going on. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad we were able to make this happen and get the whole team together. Let's dive right in. We've got 90 minutes, and I've got a bunch of questions and a few tools I want to walk you through. So I'd like to make the most of our time together. To kick us off, I'll start by sharing just a few minutes about myself, some of the credibility building pieces. Then, we'll shift into a series of questions for you and your team. I've got about a half hour of questions lined up. I'll be asking you about your business and your individual roles within it. My goal is to gain a complete understanding of where you are right now. After that, I'll walk you through the Bloom Growth OS. This is a proven set of tools that helps teams like yours gain clarity, traction, and results. And finally, I'll show you what the Bloom journey looks like, how teams actually implement this system. Does that sound good to you? Are you all comfortable spending our time this way?
Works for me.
You're good? Okay, fabulous. Thanks for that. All right, this first part is about me. I spent 20 years as an entrepreneur, building a company that grew to over 200 employees and 9 figures in annual revenue before I exited. We went through all the stages: startup scrappiness, scaling chaos, economic curveballs, and I sat in every seat along the way. After the exit, I took some time off and pretty quickly realized what I missed most wasn't running the business. It was helping other business owners figure things out. I've been coaching full-time now for the last 15 years, and I've worked with over 120 leadership teams across multiple industries. These days, I coach full-time and work remotely from a small town I never imagined I'd call home. I live there with my partner and our dog, and when I'm not in coaching mode, I'm usually reading, hiking, or chasing down great coffee. That's a bit about me. I'm not sure what else would be interesting or relevant, but happy to answer any questions you have.
We were talking before and we're just curious. Have you ever worked with a company like ours before?
Well, property management is what it is, correct? I do want to understand exactly what you're doing in property management. But yes, I have. I also own an apartment building, and I have a property management company that manages it for me. So, I'm familiar, at least in part. The beautiful thing about this system, though, is that it doesn't require insider expertise. I'm very intentionally not a consultant. I'm a coach. Consultants show up with answers. Coaches show up with questions. I'm counting on you to have the answers, Marie. That's how this works. I just want to set that expectation clearly. But yes, I do know a few things about property management.
Okay.
If you have any other questions about me, feel free to ask. No? All right, great. Marie, what's your role in the business?
I'm the office manager.
That's a pretty broad title. What do you actually do?
I oversee accounts payable and things like that. I also make sure repairs get handled. For example, if the boiler goes out, I'm the one making sure we have a team on site to fix it. I also make sure all of our units stay in good condition and filled, and that our legal documents are in order. So yeah, I wear a few hats.
That's pretty typical in a smaller firm, leaders wearing multiple hats. That's great. Anything else you're focused on?
Yeah, I also put in a lot of hours making sure everything stays on track. Lately, I've been working on figuring out where we might expand next. We know we want to grow, but we're still figuring out where. So I've been doing some research and development around that.
Got it. How long have you been with the company, Marie?
14 years.
And the business is how old again? I forget from our call.
16 years.
So, you were employee number 2?
Yep.
Or maybe number 3 or 4. You were here at the beginning, pretty much. That's awesome. Thanks for all of that. And Stanley?
Yeah, I'm the owner. I founded the company 16 years ago.
What do you actually do?
What don't I do, right? I work.
Hopefully, you're not handling AP, repairs, legal, and expenses.
No, Marie handles a lot of that.
Yeah, I figured.
I focus a lot on sales activities, big relationships, operations. I've got my hands in quite a few areas.
Are you involved in leasing too? When you say sales, is that what you mean?
Yeah,
What kind of big relationships are you managing?
brokers around town. I try to build referral relationships with them. That kind of thing.
Got it. What's the backstory of the company? How did this all come together?
I was working for another property management firm, and I didn't like the direction things were going. So I took what I knew and decided to go out on my own.
Did you already have clients lined up when you started?
Yeah, a couple. There were a few properties I was managing where the owners really liked me but weren't happy with the firm. So I broke away, and they came with me.
That's a great way to launch. How many employees do you have now?
We're at 51.
51. Nice. And you're also working with contractors, I assume? Especially for maintenance.
Yeah, especially for maintenance.
What was your revenue last year?
We did $9 million last year.
Wow, congratulations. That's incredible for property management. Most firms I come across don't break through some of the barriers you've already crossed. Kudos to you both.
Thanks.
Seriously, great job. Anything else about the history or background that I should know?
No, I don't think so. Marie?
I don't think so either.
When we were on the phone, I asked you, what do you want more of from the business? We had a general conversation about it then, but I'd love to go a little deeper now. Usually, when a leadership team brings in a coach or starts exploring a system like this, there's something underneath, something they're hoping will change. So tell me more. What do you each want more of? And it'd be great to hear distinctly different answers from each of you.
Sure.
I'd love to not be working 80 hours a week.
Okay, yeah.
It's just juggling everything. I'd love to pare that down to something more reasonable, like 50 hours or so.
Is it really 80? Or is that more of a cliche, rounded up a bit?
If you include weekends, yeah. I'm always on call. Something breaks on a weekend, I'm usually the first one they call to track down a vendor. I don't feel like I sleep much. Boilers break in the middle of the night, it's freezing outside, and people need heat.
I'm sure they do. So, when do you get to live the rest of your life?
What rest of my life?
Exactly.
Marie's incredibly loyal and dedicated.
Maybe too much.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, thank you for all of that. Is there anything else you want more of from the business? A reasonable work week is a very reasonable ask.
Absolutely. I'd also love to have more clarity between Stanley's role and mine. Sometimes we end up bleeding into each other's responsibilities. He's working on something, I'm working on something, and it's not always clear who owns what. There's some give and take, but sometimes it feels like we're duplicating effort unnecessarily.
Yeah, it sounds like there might be some inefficiencies if your roles and responsibilities aren't clearly defined. Stanley, what about you? What do you want more of?
Marie said it well. I always refer to it as needing clear swim lanes, knowing who's doing what. You asked about our leadership team. It's basically just the two of us. I actually have a business partner, but I didn't invite him to this call. Our relationship isn't great. I'd love to have a good working relationship with him. Right now, it's stressful and frustrating.
Tell me more about that.
What can I say? We don't see eye to eye. I want to go one direction, he wants another. We go in circles and often end up not making a decision at all. Then I turn to Marie, and she helps me get things moving. He has a few employees who report directly to him, and it's just a dynamic that's not working well.
What's his role in the business?
Same as mine. We're 50-50 as partners. He does have more of a finance background, so he handles the budgeting and forecasting.
When he shows up, it can feel like he's tossing a grenade into the middle of things. We'll have a good flow going, and suddenly he wants to launch some big new thing. We're thinking one direction, and now people are off chasing something totally different because he said so. It creates a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
It's not very helpful.
He's a good guy. I like him. We were close once. His name's Sam, by the way.
Does Sam know about this meeting?
Yeah, he knows. He didn't want to come.
That's a great sign.
Yeah.
What's your vision for this partnership going forward?
I just want resolution. I don't know what the right solution is, but I know something has to change. Either we figure out how to work well together, or we part ways.
So, you're at that point. Do you have any idea what Sam wants more of from the business?
I think Sam wants his way.
Yeah.
He wants to have a say in things, but also doesn't want to fully engage. It's like, I want my opinion to carry weight, but I'd prefer not to attend this kind of meeting.
Is Sam working here full-time?
Yeah, he is.
As full-time as Marie?
No one's as full-time as Marie.
Fair point. Let's shift gears a bit. What's not working in the business? This is confidential, of course, but what are the things that feel broken or frustrating? Just give me the bullet points. Either of you can jump in.
Hiring. Recruiting is tough. Property management takes a really specific skill set, and it's hard to find people who have it and who we can afford. That balance is tricky. Because of that, our existing team works longer hours, and we struggle to retain property managers. It's become a bit of a revolving door.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that. How many property managers do you have?
We have a team of 15 property managers overseeing about 150 properties.
Got it. How many total units?
We manage a mix, commercial, industrial, and a couple of apartment complexes.
So it's not just multifamily. What's the mix?
About 40% commercial, 50% industrial, and just a few multifamily properties.
And how's that working? Is multifamily still a fit for the business?
That's something we're questioning. It takes more time, more energy, more tenant issues. Commercial and industrial are more profitable and less of a headache.
Noted. Future of multifamily.
Yeah.
Sometimes growth comes from simplifying or leaning into higher value segments.
It's scary, though. We don't want to let go of revenue.
It pays the bills. Though sometimes it's not even breaking even.
Yeah. Do you have clear margin data across all three segments?
Sam does.
He's got a strong grip on that.
Or at least he thinks he does.
What does Sam say?
He's been pushing us to ditch multifamily.
He's all in on industrial, larger units, better margins.
Makes sense. Is your geography tight? Are all your properties local?
Yeah, they're all within reasonable distance from here.
Okay, great. Marie, what else would you say isn't working or is the biggest obstacle?
We're having issues with subcontractors and vendors. It's hard to find reliable partners who are really good at what they do, available when we need them, and not making us wait for days when something breaks.
Yeah.
That's been a big challenge, just identifying good partners. We're based here in the area, but not everything we need is nearby.
Sure.
So we're trying to figure out how to establish more reliable relationships, ideally with some kind of SLA in place. A service-level agreement where they commit to showing up within a specific time frame.
Of course.
That would be huge for us. Right now, it's a blocker. And our tenants aren't always understanding when something breaks, and we have to ask them to wait.
No doubt. I'm sure you've dealt with unhappy tenants if response times are slow.
Exactly. And it also affects our ability to attract new tenants, especially when people leave reviews that say things like, "Don't rent here, you'll wait a week for a repair."
Totally get that. I understand the pain.
Yeah,
How many subcontractors or vendors are you currently working with?
we're at 10 right now.
Okay, reasonable list.
It would be if they were always available. That's the problem. They're not all available at the same time, which is why we have to work with so many.
Sure, sure.
It would be amazing to have one go-to partner we could really count on, someone we could invest in and build a strong, long-term relationship with.
And managing the subs, the contractors, and the repairs, that's all part of your role, right? Like you mentioned earlier?
Yes.
Great. What else? What else isn't working in the business?
Well, we're not really sure how we get our tenants. It kind of feels like an act of God. They just show up.
So, a lack of a formal sales and marketing process?
Yeah, that's one way of saying it.
How do they actually find you? How have you grown the business to the level it's at?
Mostly through relationships in our network.
Yeah.
Sam's out there talking to people, and so is Stanley. They're both constantly building relationships.
I'm a member of EO. I've pretty much convinced all my forum mates to sign with us. So that's worked out pretty well.
There you go.
Yeah, it works.
So, Sam's doing some sales and some finance, and most of his sales focus is on industrial, right?
Exactly. That's his main interest.
Got it. Well, I really appreciate how candid and open you've been in sharing what's not working. Clearly, a lot is working. This is a $9 million business after all. Tell me a bit about the growth over the last few years and what makes you great. What's the secret sauce? You don't land at $9 million by accident.
Yeah,
So, first, what's the growth rate been like?
it's been steady. Over the past 5 years, we've gone from $5 million to $9 million, about $1 million per year. What really helped was rolling out a client portal for our building owners. They can log in and see all their reporting in one place. That level of transparency and clarity has been a game changer. It's a huge differentiator for us in the industry.
Absolutely.
And even though we have some turnover with property managers, we have a solid core group, 7 of them, who everyone loves. The culture on that team is really strong.
That's your core team.
Exactly.
I imagine the challenge is bringing others into that group and having them stick.
Right. The core team's been with us a long time. It's tough to integrate new folks into that dynamic.
Another way we've been growing is through our tenants. They bring us more business as they grow and expand their portfolios. We're scaling along with them.
That's the ideal way to grow.
Exactly. We'd like more of that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned culture, Stanley. Tell me a little more about that. What's the culture like around here? And feel free to share both the good and the not so good.
Well, between Sam and me, it's not great. Thankfully, we've managed to shield most of our employees from the tension in our relationship. But we do put a lot of energy into culture building. We go out together, have team dinners, throw a holiday party. Once a year, we do a company-wide session where we share where we're headed, and sometimes we bring in a motivational speaker to give everyone a bit of a boost. So, we've got that going. And we've got free coffee. People love the coffee.
Nice.
Although, there is one thing that makes things a bit awkward.
Yeah?
Sam's mother-in-law is in our accounting department.
Oh boy.
Yeah, sometimes I block her out of my memory.
I think we kind of keep her tucked away in the back office.
Sally. I forgot about Sally. She's a curmudgeon. That's probably the most accurate way to describe her.
Ah, yes, the technical term for that attitude.
Exactly. She's been doing things the same way for what feels like a gajillion years. We're trying to get her into our digital systems, but she's still very much a paper person.
Yeah.
And when property managers go to her for something, her default is basically, well, I don't know how we're going to do that.
Honestly, Sally might be a big part of why we have trouble retaining new hires. I can't say for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like the most welcoming presence. And with family involved, especially when it's a partner's relative, it can be really hard to make a change. Culturally, that's just tough.
You'd think she'd want to step away. She doesn't need the money anymore. We're trying to find a way to help her ease into retirement.
Retirement. There it is. Now, tell me about the biggest opportunities your business is not yet leveraging.
One area is our client portal. There is still a lot of that platform we are still not using primarily because Sally is still so tied to paper. We could also really use some insight on what to focus on next. Sometimes it feels like we're all over the place, especially when Sam gets a new idea that sends our team in an entirely new direction.
Yeah, so true, Stanley. I'd say we could really use help with what I call meeting Hal. We have meetings to prepare for our meetings, then you add in Sam, and all we do is discuss forever. I'm to the point I try to avoid meetings altogether because we don't actually get anything done. I'd also really like to get clear on our financials. It feels like Sam keeps them a secret. All I really want is a budget to know what I have available to spend.
Thank you for all of this. Bloom has some pretty great tools that will help with some of what you shared. Now, I'd love you to brag a bit about Acme Property Management. What does your business do the best that you're really proud of?
Oh, let me start. First, I am really proud of our core group of property managers. We do have a good team. They are much of how we've gotten to 9 million. For as hard as it's been between Sam and I am proud of the business we've built. I'm also really proud of the relationships we've built with our tenants. They have been instrumental in our growth. They have been referring their friends to us.
That's so great, Stanley. Congratulations. I can see why you are so proud. Marie, what are you proud of here at Acme Property Management?
I echo what Stanley said. We do have a good team here at Acme. I am really proud of how well Stanley and I work together. It feels like we complement each other's strengths and weaknesses really well. He has the big ideas and I make them happen. I'm also proud of how quickly we resolve issues with our properties when something breaks or doesn't work as expected. For the most part, we are able to respond and fix whatever is not working within 24 hours. Most of the time in less than 12 hours. I'm really proud of that.
That is incredible, Marie. I can see why your tenants refer you so often. Thank you both for your sharing. All right, before we move on, I just want to say I really appreciate everything you've shared so far. Is there anything else I should know before we start walking through Bloom Growth OS?
Not from my side. I'm interested to see what you've got. Frank spoke really highly of you, Jack. That's why we're here today.
Frank has a really thriving business that he and his team should be really proud of. As you know, they've doubled their business over the last 18 months. It's been great to have a front row seat to their growth. Perfect. All right, let's dig into the next agenda item. This next section is an overview of Bloom Growth OS. I'm going to walk you through each of the 8 essentials, just a little bit at a time. Now, I'd assert that for most businesses, there are really just 2 or 3 things holding them back from becoming everything they're meant to be. As we go through these 8 areas, I'll point out where I think those blockers might be for you, based on everything you've shared so far. But here's the good news. You don't have to fix 50 things. You don't even have to fix 15. It's really about getting clarity on 2 or 3 things that can unlock the potential that's already sitting inside your business. So, here are the 8 core areas or buckets of tools and conversations we'll explore. First, there's the growth plan. It's a simple, one-page strategic plan that keeps everyone aligned. Then there's the people component. Most clients I start with don't have very sophisticated people tools, things like leadership development, servant leadership practices, or performance management frameworks. Next is sales and marketing. This includes radically simple tools to help you make the progress you want in bringing in new and retain existing clients. Then we'll talk about meetings, specifically how to have fewer of them but get more results. Finance and data is next. That's about building the right data and reporting structure to support proactive, confident decision-making. Then there's process. This is about increasing the speed and quality of all your repetitive tasks by systematizing them. The next component is technology, both internal and external tools. For example, that client portal you mentioned, that's a great example of external-facing tech that creates real value for your clients. So, optimizing tech is a key part of the system. And finally, we get to relationships, which is all about trust, authenticity, vulnerability, and alignment. Now, for that last one to really improve, Sam would need to be involved. If Sam and his mother-in-law are operating with a totally different cultural tone in another part of the business, it's going to be hard to shift the overall culture without addressing that too. So, the first of these 8 essentials is called the growth plan. This is all about creating, documenting, and enrolling your team in the future of the business. And when I say enrollment, that's just a fancy way of saying getting all 51 of your employees truly bought into the direction you're heading. Here's a quick look at the growth plan. As part of our journey together, we'll go through this in detail. I'll guide you with all the right questions and we'll go on a discovery process to uncover the best answers you've ever had to these. We'll define what you do in the simplest terms, how you do it, and, importantly, why you do it. The why matters deeply. This isn't for marketing purposes. It's not about slogans or taglines. This is for internal alignment. It's about getting all 51 people in your company moving in the same direction, with shared clarity and energy around what matters most. In a way, you could say it's a summary of everything we're working on together. These are some of the most rewarding conversations, and we usually tackle them within the first few days of working together. Then there's the 5-year vision. You may have seen this in a few business books. It's a long-range goal, usually 5 to 10 years out, and it should feel big enough to be a little scary and a little exciting. You're not supposed to know how you'll get there, not yet. That uncertainty is actually the point. It opens up the space for the team to think differently about the business and to get out of day-to-day incremental thinking. Psychologically, it helps people become more open to change. Next, we define the 3-year future. This is not a plan and not a promise. It's a set of possibilities. It's what could be true about your business 24 to 36 months from now. And it's dynamic. We revisit and roll it forward every year at the Bloom annual planning session. So it's always a living picture of your midterm future. From there, we set very specific measurable goals for the year ahead, your 1-year plan. This part is very logical. As a coach, I bring a strong focus on goal setting. I'll help you tighten up your targets so they're specific and measurable. Then, we create a roadmap to make those annual goals real. The way we do that is by breaking them into quarterly priorities. Think of it as dividing the annual goals into 4 chunks, and every quarter, we work together on one of those chunks. It's simple, and visually, it's really compelling. You'll share this growth plan with your full team, all 51 employees, 4 times a year. That level of visibility drives alignment. It builds trust, and it helps your people feel engaged in the mission. Because you can't do this with just the 2 or even the 3 of you. Taking your business from where it is now to where it's going, that's going to take the whole team. So the next piece is people. This part is all about right people and right seats. There are several people-focused conversations we'll be having, but one you both brought up is roles and responsibilities. One of our first exercises together will be building out the future structure of this leadership team. It's not super common to see 2 or even 3 people leading a business of this size, especially one with big growth ambitions. It's likely the outcome of Marie's 80-hour work weeks. So right away, we'll start by asking, 12 months from now, what would the ideal team look like to support faster growth, better work-life balance, and a team that enjoys working together? And since you've been doing this a long time, you'll be able to draw on your past experiences, Stanley, from your previous company, your 16 years here, and maybe even from industry peers or trade groups. We'll also use a lot of common sense, and I'll bring in experience from other teams I've helped design. What we'll create is basically a blueprint, a remodel of your leadership team structure. We'll be intentional about making sure the right roles, responsibilities, skill sets, and reporting structures are in place. This is not about writing full job descriptions. It's a high-level view of the major responsibilities. And a lot of it will reflect what you've already told me, AP, repairs, occupancy, legal, expansion, sales, big relationships, operations. All of that will show up here. None of it will feel foreign. We'll just organize it in the simplest, cleanest way possible. Think of it like puzzle pieces. We want this team to fit together cleanly, with no major overlaps, and even more importantly, no gaps. We don't want any critical piece of the business falling through the cracks because no one really owns it. As we grow the business and implement these tools, Marie, one outcome should be a reduction in your hours. If the business is growing, but your hours aren't coming down, we're doing it wrong. Growth should feel like a win. We're more in control, moving faster, and actually enjoying the process. Now, it will involve making decisive people moves. If there's anyone on the team who you'd describe as a curmudgeon, it may be time for them to move on. We want a team that's aligned and excited to be growing together, which leads us to the core values discovery process. Core values will become the foundation of your culture. Do you have a set of core values today?
Yeah, we have like 7, I think. Marie, I can't remember all of them, but we've got them documented somewhere.
Yeah, there's usually a great poster. That's how it tends to go. We'll go through a discovery process and narrow that list down to 3 or 4 core values that are true, memorable, and actionable. These become something your whole team can actually live by, not just words on the wall. Another part of the people component is quarterly and annual check-ins for every employee. Often, this is a completely new experience for teams. And 9 months into it, employees will say things like, "I've never had a supervisor and direct report relationship like this before." It's simple servant leadership. and it becomes your framework for consistent, meaningful employee relationships and professional development. And finally, we'll cover hiring and recruiting. This system helps you attract higher quality candidates with about a third of the energy and effort you're probably using now. It's a radically simple approach. So, that's the second of the 8 essentials: people. The third component is sales and marketing, all about attracting and growing clients and customers. When you think about your clients and customers, do you think primarily about the building owners? Or the tenants? Or both? How do those groups fit into your mental model?
From my perspective, the building owners are our clients, and they're also our customers. Maintenance is a huge part of our revenue, so we're serving them on multiple fronts. Ideally, we'd do more preventative maintenance, but we're not consistent about it yet. I see a big opportunity for growth there, walking the buildings, identifying risks, flagging things that need repair or updating. It's a great upsell opportunity.
Got it. So, the building owner is your client because you're attracting and onboarding them, but they're also your customer when it comes to ongoing services like maintenance.
Right.
And then there are the tenants, who you're managing and keeping happy on the owner's behalf, especially to avoid tenant turnover.
Yeah. Though, to be honest, I don't spend much energy thinking about the multifamily tenants. That part isn't really where I enjoy spending my time.
Makes sense. And in the commercial or industrial spaces, are there also tenants? Or is most of it owner-occupied?
No, we've got some office tenants too.
Yeah, some tenants lease space seasonally, so we definitely have a mix.
Okay, so most of your commercial and industrial properties are owner-occupied, but you do have some lease-based tenants as well.
Correct.
Got it. That helps clarify the distinction between client and customer. Now, when it comes to sales and marketing, I'm sure you've had plenty of success here. I mean, you've grown a $9 million business, and property management certainly requires sales skills. That said, we've got a really simple and targeted approach to help you build a list of ideal target clients, a rifle approach instead of a shotgun one, especially since you're B2B. We'll focus on sharpening your differentiators, building a go-to-market strategy, and tightening up your sales and marketing management. We'll also talk about how you rate, retain, and raise client value. Often, pricing and retention fall to finance, but they're not always plugged into the market. So we bring structure to that. These are practical tools and straightforward conversations that usually increase the velocity of sales and marketing efforts within the business. But of course, you guys will be the ones doing the work. I've got the questions and the structure, but I'm not the one running the campaigns. One question that always comes up is, where are we going to find the time to ramp this up? Well, if we go back to the people component, the future leadership team will likely include someone fully accountable for sales and marketing, and possibly someone fully accountable for maintenance too. So, this work doesn't keep showing up in bits and pieces on your plates.
Yeah, I feel like we've been relying on our property managers to do our sales.
Right.
And they're also running everything else. We could definitely improve there.
Yeah. I've met a lot of property managers, and let's just say, most of them aren't natural-born salespeople.
Exactly. That might be a good area for us to dig into.
The next component is about loving your meetings. Now, I know that might sound strange. Most people don't exactly love meetings. But they're a necessary part of leading and managing a business. And when done well, they're incredibly valuable. Here's the thing though, there's very little meeting training out there. Most people just assume that fewer meetings is better. But that's not always true. What we really want is more effective meetings. And when you have more effective meetings, you can absolutely have fewer of them. You get to have your cake and eat it too. But to get there, you have to actually embrace meetings. You've got to get great at them. Marie, you mentioned meeting hell, where you are having meetings to prepare for meetings. The meeting structure will create the possibility of you actually loving your meetings. Now, if that sounds like something you'd never imagine yourself saying, just come along for the ride. I've been doing this for 13 years, and I've seen over and over again how powerful the right meeting structures can be. We'll introduce a few core meeting formats, one-on-ones, daily huddles, and weekly meetings, but we're not just going to throw all of them at you. We'll tailor the structure specifically to your business and the kind of communication you need to run effectively. One of the most powerful tools in the system is called the Bloom Weekly. It's a weekly meeting format that ties everything together. I'll be training you on it on day one, and you'll launch it right away. It's one of those tools where you start seeing value in just the first couple of weeks. This is the meeting I was just referring to a minute ago. I won't go into the full training right now, but just know it's a cornerstone of the Bloom Growth OS. What I hear from new clients, even just a few weeks in, is things like, "This is the best meeting format we've ever used. We're finally making decisions and taking action on the most important things." It's built to help you surface opportunities and obstacles every 7 days and then actually do something about them. Whether it's removing blockers or leveraging what's working, the Bloom Weekly keeps your leadership team focused and aligned. Next up is finance and data, and this one's all about enabling proactive decision-making. If your finance function is primarily looking in the rearview mirror, just reporting what already happened, that's pretty common in small and mid-sized businesses. But it's not going to get you ahead.
Yeah, Sam has a lot of KPIs he's tracking.
Yeah, and most KPIs being tracked are lagging indicators. They tell you what already happened. What we want to introduce here is a shift. Let's start tracking the activities that come before the results. That way, you can start making decisions proactively, not reactively. Because otherwise, your reaction time in business is just too slow. And if your decisions are always lagging, you're destined to stay average. It's really hard to outperform your competition that way. So, we've got a set of conversations and tools around this. One of them is a simple but powerful dashboard, a view of the most important activities in your business every single week. We look at what are the key things that need to happen consistently? How many reps of each activity do you need to hit your goals? I like to think of your property management company as a money machine, and each of these activities is a gear inside that machine. This dashboard helps us see how fast each gear needs to turn every week to keep the whole system running smoothly. Once we figure out how to measure it, we can almost always figure out how to move it. And we usually do that in the very same conversation. But it all starts with knowing what to measure. Next up is process, and this ties directly into improving the speed and quality of everything your team does. We just talked about data and how tracking activity helps you move the needle. Process is how we actually move it. So, process is all about improving the speed and quality of recurring tasks in your business. Now, I don't know the full picture for you yet, but I know a bit about property management. And I'd guess that 80 to 90% of what your 51 employees do each day are tasks they've done before and will do again. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. If you think about it, sales and marketing is full of process. Maintenance and preventive maintenance, process. Finance and data, process. Managing people, process. Using technology, more process. So, what percentage of the work your team does would you say is repetitive?
It's high, probably 70 to 80%.
Yeah, that sounds about right. A lot of it feels repetitive.
This business isn't rocket science. We're doing the same things over and over.
Exactly.
And honestly, that's part of what's helped us be successful.
I love hearing that. One of my go-to sayings is, goals are for people who want to win once. Process is for people who want to win over and over and over. This is about increasing the speed and quality of those repetitive tasks. And we often see 20 to 30% improvements in efficiency, sometimes more. So, let's talk numbers. What's your annual payroll for the team?
We're around $5 million, which includes vendors and contractors too.
Got it. Let's say your 51 employees represent $4 million of that. And let's assume 75% of their time is spent on repetitive tasks. That's $3 million going into repetitive work. Now, if we apply just a 20% efficiency gain, you're looking at $600,000 in unlocked value. That's low-hanging fruit. And this is nearly every business I work with. We don't need to get fancy. We just start by documenting existing best practices. We go to the people already doing the work and ask, what's the best way to do this? From there, as leaders, you get to simplify, stop, automate, or delegate to create more efficiency. We also make sure your processes are easy to access, simple to update, and protected with the right version control and permissions, so everything is secured and usable. Think of it like creating checklists for all the key recurring tasks in your business.
We have some of those, but the hardest part is getting people to actually use them in real time.
Yeah, and some of the processes are way too long. I hate reading through walls of text. If it's not 2 bullet points, I'm out.
If you're checked out, then your team definitely is. That's why we take a radically simplified approach. These aren't 18-page documents. These are short, practical checklists designed for smart people who are already trained. You don't read the checklist while doing the task, you do what you know. But before you click complete, you glance at the list and say, "Oh, I missed that step." That's what increases both speed and quality. I use this approach all over my life, and it works.
Yeah, I get that.
And we've just got to make things simple enough that everyone can embrace them. If it's too complicated, whether that's the process or the tech, people check out. So our goal is to keep it simple and leverage what you already have. We always start there. This actually dovetails nicely into our next topic, technology. What I see in most businesses is that tech kind of just happens to them. It's often an unconscious evolution. Tools get added, platforms accumulate, and suddenly there's no strategy behind it. We want to flip that and become intentional and proactive about how your tech is used. We look at two sides of the tech conversation. First, your internal tech, the tools your team uses day to day. With some simple assessments, we can usually find a 10 to 20% savings in spending or a 10 to 20% boost in efficiency just by optimizing what's already in place. Then there's your external tech, everything that's client and customer facing. Think of things like your client portal. These tools shape your client experience, and they're critical because in property management, your best source of new buildings is often referrals from current clients. How sophisticated and how easy you are to work with plays a huge role in growth. You want to be known as a savvy, modern, yet easy to engage business. That's part of your reputation.
Yeah, our referrals went up after we launched the client portal. That's really what helped us start growing.
That makes perfect sense. So, this conversation will be about taking all that to the next level, whether that means better leveraging tools you already have or looking at new ones if needed. And a bonus here is that if you're part of any trade groups or peer networks, you can get a heads up on tech best practices. There's always someone in your industry pushing the edge.
Like getting Sally off paper.
Exactly. Maybe even getting Sally out of the business. So, we'll do an internal tech audit, evaluate your client-facing tools, and work toward creating a tech environment that's simple, effective, and growth-enabling. Because it's really easy for tech to get overly complex, and that complexity can silently slow your business down. All right, last but definitely not least, relationships. This is about building better teammates and creating the kind of team you love being a part of. Roughly 80% of your work experience, day in and day out, is shaped by your relationships with your boss, your peers, and your direct reports. It's the people closest to you that influence how you feel at work. So, this component is about improving those relationships, specifically the ones within your leadership team. It's about getting to a level of trust, courage, honesty, and partnership that most people have never experienced in business. In fact, for some people, it might be deeper than the relationships they've had in their personal lives. This isn't just about being coworkers. It's about building something real, respectful, and high-functioning together. This is a deep professional bond with the people you rely on every day. Because when you have that kind of trust and connection on your team, that's when the real magic happens. So, we have this as a journey. We have it laid out over about 2.5 years, and it grows and builds on itself. It's a pretty special part. It's one of the things our clients just rave about, getting on this journey together. The trust that gets built and the partnership that comes out of it enable all the other 7 things to work. In the process of this, you'll have to get your relationship straight with Sam.
I can't keep avoiding it.
No, you can't keep avoiding it. It's a shame he's not here today. But without you getting that relationship straight, and if you're not willing to do some hard work with Sam, this process won't work for you. This process will help move it forward, but he'd have to fully participate, and you'd have to be willing to be vulnerable and do the hard work, and so would he.
Yeah,
Unless you get the relationship with Sam. You're tired of it being the way it is, right?
it's my biggest frustration right now.
Yeah. Let's hope that it's repairable. That's where we'd spend all the energy at first, to make it repairable. And if it's not repairable, then one of you buys the other one out of the business.
I'd be willing to try. That's my desired outcome, that we can mend the relationship.
Yeah. That would be, obviously, the least disruptive. And in the transformation of your relationship with Sam, that'll cascade down to a really great cultural experience throughout the whole firm. It'll free up energy. So, we'd go for that great outcome first. But if, After working on that problem for a year or so, there comes a point where one or both of you and Sam are going to say, enough's enough, and either go your separate ways as partners or sell the business. You don't want to keep going the way you're going. This is not a fun way to grow a business.
Yeah.
Great. This is the last slide that I have. It paints a visual picture of what the journey looks like, what it looks like to engage with me and start to use this growth system. What we're doing right now, this 90-minute discovery meeting, is represented by where it says start here. So you can see we're on the map already. As you can see, there are 4 setup days at the beginning: Bloom Day 1, Day 30, Day 60, and Day 90. And if it's not obvious, these are spread out with 30 days of sleep in between each one. It is an adult learning program. It is spaced learning with cultural change around all of this and really embracing a growth mindset, and then quite literally growing the business faster and more profitably while having a sane life experience. So the 4 setup days, these are full days, 8 to 9 hour days with the 3 of you. It would be Sam and both of you participating. And it has to be offsite, out of your location, or we can do it on Zoom. And you can't do anything else on those days. It's all tech off, focused completely. I've got some deep questions and conversations for us to have as we work through and put the system in place. It is the most effective, efficient, and fastest way to jumpstart this and get a system like this in place. Once we've got the setup complete over the first 90 days, which would just be the 4 of us, myself, you guys, and Sam, working together, then we'll have a reveal to the whole organization, all 51 employees, and you'll share with them the work that we've done, the plans for the future, the org chart changes, and the team you're building to run the business. And all those things will be shared more transparently around the numbers and the plans than you've ever shared with your folks. And they'll love it. The good people who are on board with your culture, who love working with you too, will love these plans. And they'll love being engaged in it, because you're going to be asking for everybody's engagement and their help in having this business become an even more incredible business than it already is. So after the setup days and the reveal to the whole firm after day 90, we go into this 5-day-a-year rotation where we're together once a quarter for a full day. That's a 7 to 8 hour day. At the annual, whenever you want to do that, typically for a company your size, it's in January, we would do 2 days. And that's where we do some additional team health and trust building, as well as reset the annual goals in the 3-year picture and make sure that the next year is teed up to win. So that's the 5-day-a-year rotation going on for the first 5 months that we're in this relationship.
This all sounds great. What are we talking about to get started?
The financial investment is $2,500 per month, which we'll set up as an automated monthly payment. There are no contracts. You stay as long as it's working for you. On average, clients stay about 2.5 to 3 years, long enough to really master the system. But I've had teams stay with me for 10 years. When it's a great fit, we just keep going. And there's also a guarantee. If you're not happy with the work, or if it's not what I said it would be, you don't have to keep paying me. Honestly, if needed, I'll even give you your money back. This isn't about the money. For me, it's about helping. Doing this kind of work is a passion project. I love it. And I'll just say, after spending this time with you, you both seem delightful. If you want to move forward, I'd be honored to work with you. But I do think we need to run through a similar conversation again, with Sam included. Yes, some of it will be redundant for the 2 of you, but I'd be reluctant to have Sam's first exposure to this be on day 1 of implementation. For this to go well, for you, for me, and for the team, we need Sam's buy-in up front. And we need a clear conversation about whether you're all willing to work on that relationship too. Otherwise, it's just not going to be fun or productive for any of us.
Makes sense?
Yeah. You know, most of my clients, after we've built trust and they've been with me a couple of years, I'll ask them, how long did it take you to make your decision after that 90-minute meeting? And most say 10 to 30 minutes. That's exactly what this session is meant to do. Give you all the information you need to make a decision. That includes the pricing, the guarantee, and everything else. So, do you know what you want to do? Most leadership teams want to talk about it without me in the room.
Yeah, we'll definitely need to debrief.
When do you need an answer from us?
It's not really about needing an answer. I'm just curious. In your case, I'd recommend this. Decide if you want to move forward, and if so, let's schedule another 90-minute session with Sam in the room. And that may require a tough, heartfelt conversation from both of you to get him engaged at that level. But once we've had that meeting with Sam, then I'd ask for a decision within about 7 days. That said, if the three of you talk after this and you're ready to go, call me right away. Don't keep me waiting.
You got it. I'll text you, Jack.
Perfect. Text or call me when you know. So, your next step is figuring out, is Sam willing to show up for this conversation? If he is, we can run through this again with him and then go from there. That's it. I just want to say thank you both. Seriously, thanks for taking the time. It was really great meeting you.
Likewise. We appreciate the candid conversation. Thanks for spending the time with us.
Yeah, this was great. All right, talk soon.
Bye.
Done. That's how that goes. That's an hour because of the smaller team. I want them to just get vulnerable. And the only reason we ask them what is not working is because so often they get really vulnerable with this question. Sometimes someone cries. Sometimes there's a little argument that gets started. And I want to give them a chance to emotionally recover from that vulnerability before I start going through the system. So that's why we have this question here that asks, what do you love most about your business? To bring them back up from talking about all the things not working in their business. It's like, you've got an amazing business, so there must be a lot of great stuff. Tell me about the great stuff before I dive into the growth system. Because I don't want to bring all that potential negativity from what's not working into the next part of the conversation. At some point in the session, I make a decision. Do I want them? And when I decide I want them, I go all in for the rest of the session. I shift my language. I'm coming from a when perspective, not an if perspective. I say, when we're doing day one, when we're using the people tools, when we're doing the rollout, I don't say if you hire me, I say when. That's called being assumptive in sales. And it's incredibly powerful. Most people on the other side don't even realize it's happening. That subtle shift helps them start to see themselves as clients. Now, if I determine they're not open or it's going to be a high maintenance relationship, I don't switch to when, I stay neutral. In this 90-minute meeting, the thing I've found to be the most successful over and over again is nailing down where they're stuck. What is the real problem they're dealing with? What's the number one obstacle? There have been times I've nailed that down during the meeting, addressed it directly through the 8 essentials, and walked out knowing they're going to become a paying client. Because I hit the nail on the head, I addressed their issue directly. I confronted it, and they felt it. Did you guys catch what the number one problem was for Acme? The relationship and team health with the partner, right? These kinds of pain points, these problems, these are things I've heard from actual clients. When you watch this recording, this is exactly what clients have told me in these 90-minute meetings. This isn't some polished or sugar-coated version. This is exactly how these conversations go, and it is such a delight to do. After you've done your first 20 of these, it becomes one of the best parts of being a coach. Did you see how I just nailed it on the head? I didn't make them feel bad about their relationship with Sam. I just said, here's the solution. You're going to have to address it. I'll help you. Here's where the essential relationships comes in. Did you catch that? And they were just like, yes, that's what we want. I was creating a future where this problem is solved through the system, the coaching, and the partnership. And that's exactly what I want, to make the problem go away. And I want Marie not to be working 80 hours a week. So I brought that up at least 3 times while we were going through the tools, how this is going to help her get what she wants, a more reasonable life. Now, most people exaggerate the number of hours they're working. So that's why I checked in with her. But when she affirmed it, no, it's real. I'm on call on weekends all the time. I knew it was true. Sometimes I might even go deeper. How is this impacting your family? Your personal life? If I really wanted to extract the pain. But in this case, I didn't think it was necessary. If I had wanted to go deeper, that would have been a really easy place. Because there's absolutely pain there for Marie, for her family life, her personal life, if she's working that much. I was actually going to follow up. So here's the flow. Once I've identified the pain, I let them sit with it for at least one set of questions. Tell me more about the impact. How does that leave you feeling? Just to let it land? If I sense they're already feeling it, I move on and start discovering other pain points. If I sense they're glossing over it, I go one more round. Because I want them to really feel it, to get present to the impact. But I'm not trying to cause them pain. That's not the point. I just want them to clearly see. This is what's not working. This is what Bloom Growth OS will help solve. Because without a clear problem, there's no urgency. And you know what they say. No pain, no sale. I've got the medicine, right? But I need to be sure they've got something that this medicine is good for.
If you followed the full conversation, you now have a working example of how to guide a leadership team through a high-impact discovery session. The invitation now is to practice this. Make it your own. Bring your personality, your stories, and your service mindset to the room. You've got everything you need. That concludes the 90-minute discovery meeting facilitation video. Thanks for watching.